Hey everybody, welcome back to the Calibrate Tools and DIY channel. Welcome everybody. Back every Tuesday we go live. We touch on all kinds of subjects related, you know, sometimes loosely related to what the channel is about, which is tools, trades, and we promote the trades heavily because I think that's very important. Home improvement, DIY, all that good stuff. So if you're just jumping in early, just as I sign on, I know it takes a while sometimes for people to realize that I'm on, but just come on in the chat, say hi, even if it's just that, just to acknowledge that you're here, because I don't want to dive right into the topic too soon, because from what I understand, there's a delay, and sometimes people jump in, uh, and I'm already talking, and they missed half of what I had to say. So, hey, Paragirl Life Notes, how you doing? Welcome. She says, "What's up, Calibrate friends?" Yes, thank you, Paragirl Life Notes, for that welcome greeting to everybody that's watching now and gonna watch later in the replay. Um, yeah. So once again, guys, this channel is dedicated to you. It's pretty much dedicated to education, right? And it's all about, like I said, tools and trades and all that stuff, because I am in the trades myself, and I know there's a gap that needs to be filled, and that gap opened up. I don't know, back in the '80s, sometime when they took shop class out of schools and all that stuff, right? So I'm trying to fill the gap as best I can, because I think you need to have options, especially as a young person, older person, whatever. You need to have options. You need to up level your life. You need to learn some new skills. You need to try new things, and trust me, you'll find that you're very good. You maybe even find that you're pretty talented at some of these things, right? And that's what I'm about. So if you're into tools, trades, and all that stuff, this is the channel for you. It's sponsored by Calibrate.com. That's right in the lower left corner of your screen. Don't forget to go there and support the channel, guys. I need you guys to go there, check it out, support the channel. Got some great products out there for you. And we also have a newsletter that comes out every month. Okay. Sign up for the email list, guys. I got some pretty good information on there every month that I send out concerning, home improvement tips, landscaping tips, all kinds of tips related to home improvement, DIY, and all that. But here on the lives, it's less informal. Okay, we talk about different subject matters. So sometimes it's some mindset stuff to get your mind right. Right? You ever heard that phrase, "Get your mind right"? Well, on the lives, we touch on all kinds of topics related uh, related to that. Okay, mindset stuff. I'm getting a call right now. Hold on, guys. Give me a second here. I gotta uh, give me a quick second, guys. So yeah, let's see here. Let me tell this person I'm on my live right now. Sometimes that happens. Everybody doesn't know that I go live this time, and they end up calling me. Um, so guys, yeah, that's what the channel's all about. Hope you got that. And today, let's we're going to talk about something I feel that's very important. Okay, very important to know. It's not a skill, but it is a skill. It's people think that mindset, if talk, if you want to call it that, is just some airy fairy type of information that you could just whatever goes in one ear comes out the other. But actually, everything starts in the mind, and if you get your mind right, right, if you get your mind right, everything else will follow. And so today we're going to dive right into it. I'm not going to beat around the bush anymore. Title of the live is "Let's Talk Motivation and Discipline." Can anybody tell me in the chat right now, what is the difference between motivation and discipline? And don't go to the internet to look for it. Tell me right off the top of your head, what do you think the difference is? Because sometimes we get confused, right? But understanding the difference between motivation and discipline will, if you understand the real difference, right, and apply both of them, because they're both useful, we both need them to accomplish things in life, then if you understand the real difference and apply them correctly, you'll be very successful, right? Can anybody tell me what's the difference between motivation and discipline? I'm going to give you, I don't know, Let me give you 5 seconds. Well, I'm gonna jump into it right off the bat. Motivation. Just think of motivation as if you light a match. The act of striking the match can be considered motivation, right? If you want to use that analogy. But what keeps the match lit? What keeps the match lit? Right? You struck it already, and you got the sulfur, and you got all that, and it hits the what's that called? The flint or the side of the? No, I think it's the sulfur. I don't know. But you strike the match. The act of striking the match is the motivation, right? That initial spark of inspiration, that initial spark of excitement, like Peregrine Life Note says, excitement about something versus doing that thing no matter what. Very good, Peregrine Life Notes. Yeah. So a lot of times we get excited about something, right? Oh, we want to learn something new. We want to learn a trade. We want to learn how to use this tool. It's exciting to see that. Oh, I want to be this. I want to be that. And we're excited in the beginning. It's kind of like a relationship. You just meet somebody. It's new and it's exciting. That's a new person. You're learning things about them and all that stuff. And it's exciting in the beginning, right? Because it's new territory. And we all like to be stimulated. It's like, stimulation is important to us. But after a while, that may fade, right? You get bored or you just, lose interest in it or something like that. And sometimes we just give it up altogether. We've all done that, right? We've all had something or several things throughout our lives where we're very excited about it in the initial stages. We're very, gung-ho about it, hardcore about it. And we're going to do this, going to do that. And then we're slapped in the face with the reality of what the other side of that thing that we don't see. But we only see the beauty of it in the beginning, right? And that excites us, gets our heart beating fast, our pulse going, and we just want to go all in, right? Think about it. Think about you. All right, I'm going to bring it into an arena everybody can understand, because this is very popular on YouTube. It's more popular than what I'm talking about. It's the most popular thing on social media. Relationships. Let's talk about that for a second. When you first meet somebody, everything's exciting, right? Man, she looks good. Man, he looks good. All this and that. Oh, he's got what I want. She's got what I want. Whatever, whether it's intelligence, it's I don't know, money, good career, all that stuff, and you guys seem to click, right? And great. That's in the beginning. That's what they call the honeymoon stage. The honeymoon stage. Then after a while, you get to know each other. Then you start seeing things about the person you didn't see in the beginning, because in the beginning you had visions of grandeur. Your mind was clouded with this euphoric state of this person that you're infatuated with, or maybe that's not the word, the person that you're excited about. Okay, hold on a second. Oh, okay. Sorry about that, guys. I was checking out a message. Yeah. So you're excited. You're excited, and everything's good. Then you start seeing things about the person, right, that you're not so excited about. You may clash in terms of opinions on things, right, or mindset stuff. You may learn that this person doesn't have your mindset, right, and you start questioning things, right. But you say, oh, I still want to make it work because they look so good, or I still feel it can work, right. And then if you put the time in it, it can work, right. But a lot of times we give up because you're like, okay, this person, and sometimes that's for good reason, right? Sometimes you just don't click. You find out things later, and you try to make things work, it just doesn't work. And sometimes that's the best thing, right? But a lot of times we give up on things. We give up on people. We give up on a lot of things. But in this case, we're talking about people, and then things, you drift apart or whatever, and life goes on, right? But that can happen with things as well. It happens with everything in your life. Think about it. Everything in your life, you're probably excited about it first. Your first home. Let's just say you bought a home, right? It's exciting, man. You bought your first home, and you want to tell everybody. You want to do everything to it. You want, man, you're excited, right? Then you realize what it takes to own a home. Yeah. You got repairs to do. Things are breaking down. You may find that there's a crack in the foundation you didn't know about when you bought it. All kinds of stuff could happen where you just lose that motivation for having that home, right? Or you lose that motivation for having that person. And, you know, sometimes you try to make it work, especially with a home, right? You're locked in now. You got to, you know, if you can't sell it, you got to stay in it. You know, so you got to do what you got to do to keep it. But you guys get where I'm going with this. In the beginning, you're excited about something, right? You're really motivated to make something work. You're really motivated to have that thing in your life until you get confronted with the realities of that thing. Everything out there has a good side and a not so good side, which is a matter of opinion, depending on what you think is good or bad. But for the sake of conversation, everything in your life has a good side and a side that's not so good, you know, a side that you would rather not deal with. And that's when discipline comes in. If we're talking about success in life, it's not about motivation, it's about discipline. Like Paragirl Life Knows said, excitement about something versus doing that thing no matter what. So yeah, so that if that excitement, that initial motivation, that initial spark, okay, that you feel about something, no matter what it is, person, place, or thing, does not evolve at some point into the discipline of keeping that thing around, right? Working with that thing, okay, then it's going to fade. It's going to fade. And I know, I think it was quoted by, I hear that quote: if you don't love something, something that you're pursuing, then eventually you're going to drop it at some point. And there's a lot of truth to that, right? That's why you have to be excited about what you're pursuing in your life, all right? You have to have that initial excitement, but you also have to have the discipline, right, to stay the course, because you will experience all the ups and downs of whatever that journey will bring you, right? You have to go through it. You know, anybody ever heard the term, I'm going through it? Well, you got to go through it. That's just part of life. You're not gonna escape that part. And that part's very important because it builds character. And it will tell you whether that thing, whatever you're pursuing, is worth it or not. Right? It will tell you. So the difference between motivation and discipline is once again, motivation is the initial spark, and discipline is sticking with it, right? To make it work. If you know it can work. Sometimes things don't work, right? Sometimes it's best to move on to something that you know has potential, that aligns with you, right? Because that's another thing. I know there are nuances around this. You don't just want to stick with anything or anyone just because you believe in motivation and discipline. They have to be aligned. So there are things called values. If you have certain values and that thing person doesn't have the same values as you do, then sometimes you don't. It's not worth it. So you have to pick. You have to understand that you have to be able to choose wisely where you put your motivation and discipline, because that energy, motivation and discipline, which is what keeps you going, is the most valuable thing in your life, because it's going to determine where you end up 1 year from now, 6 months from now, 5 years from now. It's going to determine where your kids end up, right? Because they model you. They look at you and they look at the decisions you're making, and they model you. Your kids model you, right? And not just your kids. It doesn't have to be your own kids. It could be your own community, right? They look at kids, younger people. They look at the older people in their community, and they see what kind of actions they're taking, right? And because they're so impressionable, they model them. And that's why certain communities, right, if the older generation are not displaying the right actions, then guess what? The younger generation is going to model that, and then that community is going to go down the wrong path, and that's sad. But we see it happen all the time. Very Good Life Knows says it's important to turn motivation into discipline. Yes, absolutely. We just touched on that. Motivation has to has to evolve into discipline. And so, okay, you can put it like this. There's many ways to put it, but you can say discipline is a higher form of motivation because it doesn't necessarily involve emotion. Motivation is a very emotional aspect of yourself when you discover it, right? When it wells up in you, it seems like it comes from an emotional core, right? Because it just builds up in the gut, and you say, man, I want to do this and that. Discipline is more of a logical overview, I would say, of the task at hand, right? So you're excited about it, and then discipline, allows you to get your head out of the clouds for a minute and actually look at that thing and say, look at the steps that it's going to take in order for you to accomplish a certain task, right? And so both are necessary, but motivation, like Peregrine Life Note said, has to evolve into discipline. Okay. Hey, Claudette McCoy, how you doing? Glad you could come in. Glad to see you. Claudette says desire and determination to achieve success. Absolutely. I would say, Claudette, that motivation involves desire, right? Determination involves discipline. So that's a really good way to break it down. Desire and determination, two different ways, right, to describe motivation and discipline. Desire and determination. We see something out there in the world and we say, man, I want that. That's desire, right? I'm excited about that. That's desire. That's that emotional fire. We all need that emotional fire to make things happen in our lives. And then determination, okay, digs into the strength that you need to accomplish that, to get that thing. You can have all the desire in the world you want to, but if you do not have the determination or discipline, right, then you will never get that thing. So very good way to phrase that, Claudette. I like that. Desire and determination. So, and let's touch on determination for a second, right? I'm not going to look up the Webster's dictionary definition of determination, but everybody knows what it is. If you're determined to get something, right? If you're determined to accomplish something, you're going to stop at nothing. I'm talking about real determination, real hardcore, no holds barred, no excuses determination. I'm not talking about some half, ass determination that a lot of us have at times, right? We think we're determined. We think we're determined, but we're not, because when we run into the hard parts, then we give up, right? And it's nothing wrong with letting something go if it does, like I said, if it does not align with your values, right? Which brings us back to, okay, what are values, right? So you got to have values, you got to have standards. And I want young people to listen here. You have to have values and standards, some kind of values and standards in your life. Otherwise, what are you doing, right? Because values and standards determine the intensity of your discipline and motivation. If you have weak values and weak standards, right, then guess what? You're going to have weak determination and weak motivation because your values, they're the low-hanging fruit, right? If we raise our values, and I'm talking on a community level, because I like to talk on a community level. It's not just about the individual, especially in the case of my community, right? Which has a lot of work to do, okay? Because we're fighting wars out here. We have to as a community, we have to raise our standards and values for where we want to be as a community, in spite of what's against us, okay? It's very important, in spite of what's against us, okay? That's going to determine where we are in the next 10, 15, 20, 100 years. And we got to think long-term like that, right? If you're not thinking about where your kid is going to be in the next 10 years, or where you would like them, if you're not even thinking that, or what world you would like them to live in, then what are you doing? It's all about you, right? It's all about you. So you got to think of where you want them to be. Okay, because we're setting the stage of where our kids are going to be. And we already know what we've been through and what we're going through. Do we want them to go through the same thing? No. But if we don't want them to go through the same thing that we've been through, we got to set the stage here. We don't want them to start from scratch like we've been doing for centuries, right? And we understand why we've been starting from scratch, but I'm not going to get into that. So desire and determination, like Claudette said, is synonymous with motivation, right, and discipline. You got to have determination. You got to have, but like I said, you got to have values to determine what kind of the intensity of your determination, right? And if your values are high enough, guess what? It's going to result in greater things happening for you and your community. So you got to raise the standards, and all that means is expanding what you think your values are to get outside of yourself, right? Forget all the selfish stuff and think about the community. And that's when you're going to blossom. That's when you're going to blossom. That's when your motivation is going to be stronger, because you're not just motivated by how you feel. You're motivated now, okay, by how others are going to benefit from the work you do out here in the world. Hope you guys are following me here. So, yes, Claudette says, yes, I think so too. Also, ambition. Yeah, ambition is also an interesting term. You got to have that. You got to have, I would think of ambition as having goals, right? On an individual level, if you have a goal, I would put it like this: desire and determination, motivation and discipline. Let's talk motivation. Is that spark that you have? It's not necessarily tied to anything. I mean, yes, it is tied to something, but I also see ambition is more of a goal that you've set, an actual specific goal that you've set for yourself. Okay, maybe you've set it for yourself. Maybe you've set it for your family. Maybe you set it for your community, and a specific goal. We're going to be here in the next 5-10 years. This is what we're going to accomplish in the next 6 months. This is what we're going to accomplish in the next year, 2 years, 5 years. You have a timeline, right? And that's where I put ambition in terms of in the whole scheme of things. You have specific goals that you've written down, that you've put in writing, and that you know that you want to accomplish, and you're driven by them. Okay. Goal setting, very important. Without a vision, the people will perish. That comes out of the book, the scriptures, right? Without a vision, people will perish. You got to have a direction, man. You got to have some kind of direction. Okay. If you don't have a direction, you're just driving around, and you can end up anywhere. But if you want to end up somewhere, then you got to have goals, right? You got to set the coordinates of your life. You got to set the coordinates of the next day. You got to set the coordinates of the present day, right? If you really want to get granular about it, you set the coordinates of every hour of your day. What are you going to be doing? I mean, some people are like that, right? In order to be as productive as you can be. So they break down their day into, okay, this hour is set aside for this, and this time of the day is set aside for leisure and family time and all that stuff. When you listen to the stories of successful people, they tend to break it down like that. They tend to have a schedule, right? They tend to have a daily routine, a schedule for their day, for their week. They have benchmarks they've set. Okay, they've set benchmarks, very important, and they write them down, right? Or they have reminders. They have assistants to remind them, hey, you need to be here, you need to be there. They take control of their time, right? They're not victims of time. They control their time. You talk about control freaks, okay? It's nothing wrong with being a control freak about your time, because time is the one thing that you cannot get back. You can get everything back except time. And if you waste time on the wrong things, the wrong people that are not taking you anywhere, that are hindering you, not helping you, guess what? Don't blame anybody but yourself where you end up, because we all make choices, right? Everything is a choice. And when you think you're not choosing something, right? You think, oh, it's not my fault, whatever. You're actually choosing that condition in your life, right? I understand there are variables that are outside of our control, but we have more control than we think. First thing you do is look around at what kind of people you're hanging around with. What kind of feedback are you getting from these people? Right? Are they feeding you? Are you guys um, bouncing off of each other? Positive things, growth subjects, conversations about, okay, where are we going to be? Conversations about goal setting, conversations about, we should do this, do that. This is going to make this work so we can get this. Are you having those types of conversations daily with the people in your life? If you're not having those types of conversations in your life with the people in your life, then you're around the wrong people. It's better to be alone, right? And have conversations with yourself about those things than be around a bunch of people that's going to suck the energy out of you. And then 5-10 years down the line, you're still in the same position than you were because you chose, yeah, because you love your friends so much. Oh, I got to have friends, people, because you love being around a certain crowd so much because you're comfortable being around a certain crowd. And guess what? You chose that. So don't blame them. They're just being them. Don't blame them. They're just being who they are. Blame yourself if you regret where you are right now. But if you listen to this right now, that it's never too late because I had to learn the same lesson. Everybody does. And if you're in earshot of this video or this live, please take heed to what I'm talking about, especially young people, especially my young African American men who have so much against them right now in this world. Okay? Change. And I know it's not easy because if you're surrounded, let's just say you live in a neighborhood where it's nothing but unproductive activity going on, and you're surrounded by that, even in your own household, right? It's hard to say, man, I just want to get away from that. I can't even go in my own room and lock the door because it's that kind of thing. I get it. It's hard. That's why, guys, we need to be mentors in our own community. And it doesn't mean you have to show up at a building all the time. That's great if you do that, if you're connected to organizations that help kids and stuff like that. That's great. We need that. But everybody's a mentor in the community. If you're walking down the street and you see a young kid by themselves, all you got to do is stop them and give them a word of wisdom. That's being a mentor. That's looking after your community. Okay, give them a word of wisdom. Say, hey man, check this out. Here's this book you should read, or just start up a conversation with a group of young men standing around on the corner or something. Don't be scared. A lot of times those guys are looking for that kind of attention that they're not getting at home. They're not getting from a parent who's not there. You may have a parent that's incarcerated or something, and they need that fatherly figure to step in and say, hey, I love you guys. You don't have to be my biological kids, but I want to help you with the wisdom that I've gained in life. I want to impart this to you. I want to tell you this, and that, and the other. And trust me, they will love you for that. At least they will respect you for that. But a lot of us, unfortunately, are scared. We're scared to even approach our own people to tell them, hey, look, to get them on the right path. But that is our job. So don't blame anybody else. Don't expect other communities who care nothing about you, right? Who would rather see you on the corner and then point the finger at you for for this and that. Who would rather see you in jail? Who would rather see you sitting on the corner with handcuffs on, surrounded by a bunch of cops? Don't depend on any other community to help you, right? And say, oh, well, they never helped us. Well, they're not going to help you. You got to help yourselves. When in the history of this world, this country, have they really helped you like that? All right. So why even blame them? I mean, there's a lot of blame to go around, but we have more power than we think to change the lives of our kids, set them in the right direction. And sometimes all that takes is a word that just or a, hey man, how you doing today? Let me talk to you for a second. To put them onto something, say, hey man, go to that program over there. They'll teach you how to weld or something like that for free, right? And you direct them. You direct them to whatever resources that can help them out. If each one of us did that, on a regular basis, right, you'll see a lot of changes. You'll see a lot of changes. So the whole indifferent attitude that we have towards our own has to stop. And if you're watching this and you're from another community, it applies to you as well. If you want to see your community thrive, same thing. You can't have an indifferent attitude. But I'm especially talking to my community, right? All that indifferent stuff, get it out the window. Don't blame anybody but yourself, because they do look to adults. They look to the adults in their community for guidance, right? Just like when you were a kid, you look to your adults for guidance and all that. Well, on a grander scale, the younger people in your community look for guidance as well. And sometimes all that takes is a little attention that they need. Show them a little love. There's nothing wrong with that. Matter of fact, that's required of each one of us. Okay, so motivation and discipline, guys. We got to be motivated to do these things. I was talking to a student of mine, former student. He graduated from the welding program, got his certification in a few processes. Proud of the guy. I was talking to him the other day. He showed up. He showed up at the facility, and he was telling me, "Hey, once I graduated, I went looking for a job, like for a month, or at least a month or two. Nothing, absolutely nothing happened. Crickets. No calls, nothing. And but he kept at it. He kept at it, and he decided to offer his services instead of looking for a job. He started offering his services as a new welder, right, to people in his community, and they started to give him a chance. One lady said, "Hey, come do this for me. Come build this fence for me." And he went and built the fence, right? It was probably one of his first jobs outside of welding school. She liked it. Word got around, and he started building other fences. And then I think a restaurant chain asked him to build a grill or something like that. And he never built the grill. Matter of fact, he said he looked at it, he said, in his mind, he said, I don't know if I can do that. But he didn't tell them that. He said, yeah, okay, I can do it, no problem, right? And he did it. And then they asked him to do other things. So he got his thing going. He did not give up. He was motivated in the beginning, but motivation can fade when the results are not showing up right away. And that's another concept that you need to understand. It's called delayed gratification. Things are not going to happen right away. But if you drop a seed in the ground, if you're a farmer and you drop a seed in the soil, is that plant going to grow right away? No, it's not. There's a gestation period. When a woman gets pregnant, does the baby pop out right after the sperm fertilizes the egg? No, it takes 9 months, right? It takes time sometimes, guys. And that's a universal principle, by the way. As above, so below. Everything you see here in the physical world, there's a complementary, how should I say, law in the invisible, right? Matter of fact, everything happens in the invisible first anyway, right? I have a thought. I want to pick this pen up. I think about it first, and then I pick it up. So it happened. You can't see when it happened. You only see when the act occurs, right? So when you plant seeds, right, and your thoughts are seeds, when you plant them in the right soil, they will blossom. It's a universal law. And we all see this law happening on a daily basis, whether you know it or not. Guess what? Where you are in life right now is a result of your thoughts. Now, we could get all into the metaphysical aspect of it. I'm not going to go into all of that. But, there's certain things you say, okay, well, I was born here. I didn't, think that I would be. Yeah, okay. We're not going to touch into all that. But let's just say when you became an adult, right? When you became an adult and you realize who you were as a human being, you realize, hey, if I think this thing too much, I'm going to do it. It's going to happen in my life. Because that's a law. Just like when you drop a seed into soil, eventually something's going to sprout. So it's the same thing with your thoughts. If you think a certain way long enough, the subject of your thoughts are going to eventually manifest in your life, whether you know it or not. Right? I thought about sitting here on YouTube at some point before I even did it, and now I'm doing it, right? And that that goes with anything in your life, even situations that you say, why did this happen to me? Why is this? How did I end up here? That type of thing. Well, on some level, you chose that situation. On some level, you chose the actions of that situation. I know that don't come at me with this, because I know we can this conversation go a whole bunch of ways. Yes, someone can say, hey, I didn't think about getting hit over the head. I didn't think about getting raped. I didn't think about getting. No, I'm not saying that. And I don't want to go off into another tangent on that one. All I'm saying is that you may have thought about walking down that street and having a nice peaceful walk when that person came and did whatever they did. It's not your fault that you chose to for that person to do that thing to you, that negative, evil thing to you, right? You were just being you, but you did choose to walk down that street. Okay, so yeah, nobody's blaming you for all the negative things that happened in your life either, right? I'm not blaming you for that. You were just being you. But taking control of your thoughts, being more vigilant about what goes in your head to determine where you're going to be in life is very important. Okay, it's very important, and to determine the direction of your motivation and discipline, right? Because you got to give them direction, right? If you motivation and discipline are very powerful energies. It determines where you are right now, where you're sitting right now. So if you understand that and you take control of that, you can go to heights that you've never reached before in your life, because now you understand the law and now you can control it, right? You won't be at the mercy of it. Now you understand it. Now you can wield it. You can control that, right? That's what I'm getting at. So wherever you want to be, first must take control. You must give it direction. You must have a goal. You must set the standard. Like if you have a GPS, right? You type in the coordinates you want to get from here to there. You got to first type in the coordinates. You got to type in the address, and then the GPS does its thing, right? If you don't have an address to type in, you don't have a location, a destination, coordinates, specific coordinates, then guess what? You'll take forever to get there because you don't have the quickest direction, you don't have the fastest route, and you don't know all specifics of your destination. So you're going to be fumbling around in the dark until you get there. That's what happens when you don't know what you want to do with your life. And so this live is about giving you, it's pretty much about having a direction, being motivated about where you want to be, having a goal, having an address, right? Being motivated about it, and being disciplined enough to stay on the path, because there's so many distractions to get us off the path. Every day there's a distraction. You can be your own distraction. It doesn't have to be anybody else. You got to tame your own mind. You got to tame all that stuff if you want to accomplish great things for your life and for your community. So I hope everybody took something from this. I know I rambled on, but it's very important that you have your mindset in order to accomplish what you need to accomplish. Otherwise, you're just blowing smoke. You're just lying to yourself because it sounds good, right? Oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, but you're not even taking action. You're not even setting the coordinates, right? You're not using the GPS system of the universe to take you where you need to be, right? Because even though you get the coordinates and the GPS shows you the path, you still got to jump in the car, turn the key, and drive. And that's where discipline comes in, right? So you combine all those three things, then you'll eventually, I guarantee you, barring circumstances out of your control, like death or some accident or something like that, you stick on the path, you're gonna get there, man. That's just universal law. Everything's working for you. You just have to apply it. Everything is set up to work for you. You just have to type in the coordinates. You got to set that goal. I want to be there. And, that's when the distractions really that's when things really start happening. It's something funny about that. We've all heard that, hey, when I'm really on the path, I'm really working towards something, I get that call from that person, I haven't heard from in years, or something over there distracts me. It seems like everything seems to want to throw you off the path, right? Want to distract you, make you lose focus, make you lose sight of what you even started out to do, right? And it's just to knock you off the path. It seems like there's something for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. The more focused you are about your goals, it seems like the more challenges come to you to knock you off the path. But if you look at it, if you look at that in the correct way, you'll be okay too, because you'll see that, hey, that's just character building. This is what I need here, right? So when I get to my destination, I'm able to maintain it. I'm able to stay there, right? Because I've built enough character along the journey. I've gotten strong enough with all the challenges that I've overcome to allow me the strength to keep that goal that I wanted so badly. Because you heard of people that like say won the lottery, right? They didn't work for it. They don't know what it is to work so hard. I'm not saying they weren't hardworking. Maybe they were, but they won millions of dollars, whatever it is. And I'm talking about the ones that got the money and then loses the money in a span of 2-3 years, or maybe even sooner, because they weren't prepared to keep that thing. They weren't prepared to keep it. They didn't know how to handle money. They never educated themselves about finances, investing, in order to keep that money, right? In order to keep it flowing, into as a something to keep them going, right? Or grow their money, or grow their estate, or whatever. They just spent it frivolously on dumb things, houses, cars. They never knew how to grow their money, so they lost it. And that's the law of the universe. It'll give you something. Sometimes you'll get things that you want so badly just to lose it right away, because to teach you a lesson that, hey, it's not about wanting that thing so badly. It's about, do you know how to keep that thing? You hear about people complaining, hey, I had a good husband, or I had a good man and I lost him. Oh, I had a good woman and I lost her. Yeah, you wanted that and you got it, but you didn't know how to keep it. So it's gone. And that's the law of the universe, right? If you don't know how to keep it, if you don't develop the skills to keep something, right? I'm not saying everything stays. Sometimes some things are meant to go. But if you don't develop the skills to keep something, then you're going to lose it. That's just, if I if I catch a ball in my hand and my fingers aren't, if I don't know how to hold the ball right, guess what? I'm going to lose the ball. I'm going to fumble the ball. All right. So it's not just about getting that thing that you want so badly. It's about understanding what it is to keep that thing. And you only understand or learn how to keep something on the journey to get there. That's why people who have worked hard, who have sacrificed to get to a certain point in life, value where they are more than someone who just was handed to them, or they did it by, getting fast money type of deals and all this stuff, right? So, yeah. So there's a lot tied into it, guys. Motivation and discipline, very important to have that. But what exactly do you want, right? And that thing, do you want? Is it really what you want, or is you think you want it? Because you just may get it, and it could be the worst thing for your life, or it could be a good thing if you know how to keep it, and that's what you really want. Claudette says, "Thank you. I'm getting my mind right and staying on the path." Yeah, absolutely, Claudette. We all got to do that, including myself. I'm on here talking to me as well as everybody else, right? Yeah. So for all you young people out there, especially in my community, please listen to this again, share it, hit that like button. Guys, hit that like button, okay? And share this information. Because if you want to be successful, and all success means is attaining that goal that you set out to get. It doesn't mean making $1 million. It means that you had a goal that you set for yourself, that you were motivated about, you were disciplined about getting there, and you've attained it. Okay. And you know how to keep it, right? You know how to value it. You know how to make it work for you. That's success. And that could be in terms of getting a job. It can be in terms of making money. It can be in terms of having a good relationship with your kids, all that stuff. That's what success means. Okay. A good relationship with your creator, right? As well. That's success. Okay. And whatever that means to you, guys. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you coming on. Hope you got something from this. I want to say thanks to Paragirl Life Notes to Claudette. Thanks you for coming in. Love to talk to you guys. Once again, share the content, guys. Don't forget to go to calibrate.com and support the channel. Okay, got some great products on there, and would like you guys to partake in them. Okay, they're on there just for you. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter as well. Hey, Bruno Natividad, how you doing, sir? Great motivating talk. Thank you, Bruno. I hope you got something out of that. I think, if you got a young person in your life, share this video with them, have them listen to it, and then talk to them about it. Say, hey, what'd you get out of this? Did you get something out of this? Have a conversation. Let this live be a good conversation piece. Maybe around the dinner table or something like that. Maybe around the lunch table at work. Tell me what you think about that. Right? Ask your coworkers or whoever to listen to this or wherever, and hope you get something out of this. Anyway, guys, Paragirl Life Note says great reminders to help us stay on course. Yes, we got to stay on course, guys, because time is flying every day. Every day time goes by. You're one step closer to that time when you got to get out of here permanently, right? Knowing that you should be going full force at whatever you're going for, man. You should be going head first, like a bull out of a pen, man. You know how you look at those bull riding competitions and you open the door and the bull comes running out? That's the kind of energy you should have about your life. Nothing's going to stop you. Nothing's going to get in your way, right? Whatever's in your way, you're going to run over it or run through it. That's how you got to be. You got to run through those obstacles like it ain't nothing. You got to eat them up, spit them out. You know what I'm saying? Because those obstacles, actually, that's the stuff that makes you stronger. So you got to be thankful for those obstacles, those hard times. It ain't for weaklings out here. You got to go through something. If you ain't been through something in life that really tested you, then just wait. It's coming. Because that's the only. When you come into this world, that's what you're gonna have to deal with, and that's okay. Because that's what it's meant to do. It's meant to mold you into something, right? Mold you into the Superman, Superwoman that you are, right? Right? You don't have to let anything defeat you. You defeat it. Matter of fact, whatever that thing is begging for you to defeat it, right? It's begging for you to say, "Hey, put me down. I'm miserable too. Please put me down." That's what that obstacle is. That's what that person is. For you to overcome them, right? And transform it into something that's going to make your life great. And if you don't believe that you're great, then you need to look in the mirror again, because the Creator doesn't make something that's mediocre. It's us that looks at ourselves as mediocre. Anyway, guys, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you. And go ahead and watch all these videos, these good videos I have for you. You can learn a skill, trade, all that stuff, okay? Take care. Have a good one.